Alright, CargoCultist back here again. You may remember me from such classics such as the Manchester Airport UAP artist recreation. And I wanted to try out the recent leaks going on and well, apparent leaks that were given, a bunch of photos were given to a YouTube channel called Strange Mysteries. Um, and they were given a ton of photos. And the most interesting one for me was, in terms of something that I could pick out and uh, with my skill set, was this thing. Uh, this is called the Chandelier looking UAP in terms of the label. Um, these other stuff are pretty cool, but hopefully, what my goal is here is if this thing is legit, I would like to recreate it and also, by doing that, give a little bit more push to this because I've noticed some things that are pretty cool. Um, so just at first glance in this thing, um, I was suspecting that this is a specific shape. Um, and there's a couple things I went through. The first was like an irregular dodecahedron and then a stellated dodecahedron or something like that. But I think it's just a 12-point star. But I thought these things were foreshortened and skewed in the background. It still could be the case if they got some crazy, like, fisheye camera lens or something like that. But my current consensus is that it's a sort of lopsided three-dimensional shape. So it's like um, the section at the front, I guess, or whatever you would call it, it's weighted to one side, and the rest of these spikes, or half of them, I guess, are shorter. Um, and um, based on the idea that it could either be foreshortened or it could be um, all the same length, but I ended up with foreshortened, as I said. Sorry, shorter length in general, as I said. Um, it's because it ended up matching a lot better. Um, and also, this sort of rough sketch I did in terms of potential lighting and shadow turned out that um, it's actually feasible in terms of three dimensionality. So you can notice that darks are dark in this area. So big blotch of black here. And then all of these sort of like half white and half black, they all match up. Um, and you also have to take in consideration that we don't know for sure what the sort of points on this shape are. We don't know if they're sort of geometric, I guess, or smooth. And those sort of small differences can light up a whole entire face. And yeah, so, but there's enough here that, well, this is an interesting image now because it's either CG or a Photoshop god or artist that really knows how to light a 12-point star, which is pretty impressive. Um, I can't even visualize that in my head. Um, but I guess you can't roll it out. But I'm assuming this is either CG or real. Um, But so jumping from this, I guess, um, there was also a bit of description on one of the later videos made by Strange Mysteries, the person that got all these things leaked towards them. And through the email responses, he talked about the cruciform entity being this sort of sentient thing. This is not the cruciform entity, but um, they were also talking about other of the UAPs exhibiting sort of, don't know the exact word to use, but the word was basically in the gist of it changes form. So, what does that mean in terms of this one if it can change form? Well, if this is labeled the chandelier looking UAP, then we should probably pay attention to what the old chandelier that was, well, labeled as I'm pretty sure, as an anomalous entity by the United States of America, if I'm not wrong. This was the one that was leaked by Corbell. Um, not entirely sure on all these facts, but still fairly interesting in terms of potential similarities. This could be a different configuration. Maybe it's like a 16-point star or something like that. And I'm not really sure about these like bleed in terms of whatever, but potentially what we're seeing here in terms of what they've recreated is maybe a high definition version of well, at least that image and this image as well. So let's jump into uh, this lower version of the high quality 3D model that I made. But since we can view this around in 3D, um, and since it can change shape, why would it do that? Um, well, it's kind of got this pointed directional thing. I have no idea what the purpose is, and maybe it's not a directional thing. But there's there's 6 points, and on the point in the middle specifically, all facing sort of forward, I guess, if you're going this way. But if you were to jump around, maybe it can like reconfigure itself into like different forms. So then it like maybe it shoots out that way and then it wants to jump out this way or whatever. Or I'm not really sure, but I think it makes sense for these spikes to change if they're talking about a form that can shift around. So I thought that was interesting to sort of represent here. And uh, jumping into just a high quality model here, just so you can really see what those little screenshots I took. Uh, Interactive model will be down in the description. Feel free to check it out. And um, because these are kind of interesting, I think it's probably worth looking at the rest of these because, well, some of them, like, there's not so much we can take out of. But I reckon these two specifically. I reckon this one specifically, the famous ceiling fan thing that seemed to have ticked him off, unfortunately. But um, there's a lot going on here that also I don't think this is AI because of how sort of perfect all these patternings are. You know, like things go in, things go out. Um, it's like and this thing's either CGI or Photoshop. I don't think it's AI. There's also like gradienting and all these points here, and then like highlights and all these points here. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of patterning going on that like an AI is gonna fuck up, I think. And also the whole sort of thing of like this is a ceiling fan. Well, ceiling fans are like iconically symmetrical, and this thing is like slightly like you can tell that like these triangles here a change in width and whatever. So I don't know if this is due to perspective or not. But yeah, I thought just by sort of picking out this thing specifically, hopefully it reinforces the fact that these other things you can't just throw them out the window. I think they require more analysis. I know the situation is a bit confusing, but this is either well if this is CGI, which I assume it most likely is, just because of, I guess, the complexity of all these things and how they're lit, and um, like this one as well. It's you could technically do this in Photoshop, and if you're a good artist or whatever. But I think this one's kind of like, if they are, then it's just like a challenge for them specifically. And well, it's a it's difficult. It's very very difficult, and the fact that they have to be uh, CGI artist that's now LARPing and talking, and there's a lot of layers here that, like, let's check it out. Anyway, I think that's my 2 cents. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'll probably be making more of these, so subscribe. The fucking drill, whatever. You don't have to. If you like it, click the freaking like button. This is a brand new channel. I like making these. Hopefully you like them too, and yeah, see you around.